Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball. As you can see, I'm here with a special guest known as ClutchTalk. How's it going, my man?
Doing good. Very, very happy to be here. I'm John for all the fans that want to know, man. And like Garrett said, yes, I am the host of the Clutch Talk podcast, man. Make sure you guys go check that out. We bring all NBA content, man. But I'm excited to be here, excited to talk about some NBA talk, man. I'm glad NBA season's back.
Yes, sir. And if you guys want to go check out his channel, I'm going to have it in the description below, so feel free to do that. But let's start with the first things first, and that's opening night. Obviously, all the big name teams played: the Nets, the Lakers, the reigning champion Bucks, Steph Curry. So it's like you got to see some of the best talent in the league. But I think most people coming into the season thought, Nets and Lakers are the favorites to make the finals. Unfortunately, both of them lost on the first day of the season, and I know how you feel about the Lakers as well. So, just to ask you, like, what problems did you see from both these teams, and do you think like it's something to be worried about long term?
So I'll start it off from the Lakers perspective, and the number one problem I saw was the problem that I actually predicted, and that was the continuity. How are you going to figure out bringing in a player like Russell Westbrook into the system that the Lakers had going last year? And another thing is that the Lakers last year, well, the last couple of years, have just been so defensive oriented, just so focused on defense, such a defensive dominant team, and now their roster really isn't that deep on defense. It's more of an offensive roster, man. So I think that the Lakers are having a hard time making that transition, man. And we saw no continuity in the Lakers during the preseason, and we saw all the continuity in the world for the Warriors, man. So the Warriors came out and really punched them in the face, man. AD was strong in the beginning. He was doing what we need AD to do for the Lakers to win. But and then as the game went on, he started going to that mid range, and then just not taking advantage of the mismatch that he has every single time on the court, man. So that just went all downhill. The Lakers didn't get out to Warriors shooters, man, and the Warriors is the last team you want to leave open out there in the three. So that's as far as the Lakers. And as far as the Nets side, man, I honestly was just so upset by the Nets because I just felt like they came out flat. They came out extremely flat. They got punched in the mouth, and I thought that they were the ones that were going to come out punching because they just had to watch the Bucks take accept this ring ceremony. That everybody that watched the playoffs last year knows that if Kyrie wouldn't have got hurt, if James Harden would have been there, the Nets would have beat the Bucks, man. Would have beat the Bucks. So I definitely thought that the Nets were going to come out with a crazy performance with a lot of fire in them, but they just came out flat. But I got to give a big ups to my boy KD. He did his thing. 32, he did his thing, but that's in his sleep, man. But that's how I felt about the games. How'd you feel? What are some things that you saw with those two games?
Yeah, I think like I'll start off with the Nets. Like you said, they kind of came out really lethargic. I have like three things here for what I think went wrong for both these teams. The first one for the Nets, interior defense, it was just not there. And that's something that might be a problem long term. I mean, it kind of was a problem last year for them because they didn't really have that dominant center inside. And now you're putting a lot of pressure on a guy like Nicholas Claxton, who's still pretty young. But yeah, they just came out all flat. I think the only one that came out firing was Patty Mills, and he hit like 7 threes in the game. You're not going to get 7 threes from Patty Mills every night. I think the other thing too with the Nets is the Kyrie drama, and not necessarily just like thinking about like, oh, like if we had Kyrie, this and that, but I think it's the fact that they probably expected him to be there, so they probably didn't think they had to do quite as much. And then now they come into a situation where it's like, nah, like we need Durant at the top level, we need Harden at the top level if they want to win. And they both came out struggling. I know Durant played a lot better in the second half, but both of them were slow in the first half, and that's why the Bucks were up like 20 something. And then the other thing is, even for them, offensive continuity, I feel like sometimes they get stuck in the isolation game, and that's great when you have two really good isolation scorers like Durant and like Harden, but at the same time, these other guys, they weren't really getting flowing either. I mean, again, we talked about Patty Mills. I feel like that's kind of like a rare night. He's not going to go 7 for 7 from three every day. So that's my biggest problems for them. Talking about the Lakers, again, for them, offensive continuity too, just like you said. And I'll even boil this in with where does Russell Westbrook fit? I think that we're still waiting to see how this is all going to like work out. And then as well, like with the bench, you said the defense specifically, and I kind of thought that a lot this summer more than even last summer. I feel like they lost a lot defensively. Yeah, you got a guy like Carmelo Anthony could give you like 10 or 15 on great shooting. He could just have one of those mellow nights, but he'll probably give up 20 or 25 at this stage in his career. So, like, I don't know. It's really hard, and it's funny because I think you tweeted something out about the AD thing that you said, and I saw that on my timeline where you're like, God, if AD can just get in, like, stop settling for these mid-rangers. But no, I think that the Lakers, I'm less worried about them probably than the Nets, because obviously the Nets, they got more internal things going on. But yeah, I think that both of them, it's just going to be weird to see how it all shakes out. Um, but yeah, I don't know, like if you wanna what if you wanna react to that, or should we move on?
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. I just want to make sure you're done there. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, like something else that I want to add on as far as that Lakers team, that one thing I didn't talk about on top of the defense was the bench scoring, man. They got outscored, I believe, by 26 the bench. So and that's something that the Lakers are going to need. The Lakers are extremely vet heavy team. LeBron isn't going to be able to carry a shoulder load of the minutes. AD, he's not too old, but we know how his injury history is, so he can't carry every single night, 82-game season, the heavy amount of the load, man. So I think that those role players really need to step up. I know Wayne Ellington was out. I know he didn't suit up. I know Trevor Ariza was out. He didn't suit up, and those will be a big help when they come back. But they to do better than 26 points off the bench, man. That was a very, very upsetting performance from the Lakers. But both from the Lakers and the Nets, I have no concerns. I really have no concerns. Especially on the Lakers, because I understand that it's an 82-game season. You have to integrate a player like Westbrook in, who's super, super hard to integrate into your system. And I have no doubt in my mind that LeBron's going to figure this out. No doubt in my mind. Lakers are still my championship favorites. Not because I'm a Lakers fan, but because I think that they're built to be a championship team.
It should be interesting, though. The one thing I'll say, it should be interesting to see how Westbrook responds moving forward in the season. Because I know I saw something that said he took the first game personally because he put a lot of it on him. And then LeBron told him, like, just relax, it's just one game. But, like, usually, like, Westbrook, he's known for getting hard on himself. And he's like, I could have done this better, I could have done that better. He's even stopped reporters from trying to blame his teammates when Westbrook had, like, a crazy game. And he's like, this was my fault or whatever. So I kind of want to see how he responds like that. But, yeah, like, we can move on to some of the other games, too, from the big Wednesday night. So I'll ask you, what was your favorite game of the other games that we saw that wasn't on opening night, if you have one? And then, do you have any notable takeaways from, like, some of the games?
Boy, I got you. I already got an answer ready for you. I was watching that Knicks and Celtics game. Boy, oh boy, was that game crazy. That game was a nail biter down to the last team, man. It was crazy. Just everything that you could want as a basketball player, someone who just loves basketball. You got it in that game, man. You got consistent back and forth. You got consistent back and forth buckets, defense, man. It was a whole lot, man. But one thing that I want to talk about, I guess I'll start talking about on the Knicks side. One thing that I want to say, man, is the world needs to watch out for the Knicks this year. The Knicks, they did a lot last year, surprised the world, and now adding a player like Kemba, man, I think that's going to just fit in so great into their system. And then you bring a point. In my opinion, D Rose is a starting caliber point guard. You're bringing him off the bench, man. It's gonna be hard for those guards out there in the Eastern Conference, because the Knicks are going to be really bringing it to them. And you already know who else, Gary. You already know my boy Julius Randle is about to take another huge leap this year, man. he was out there. Honestly, like I'm a big Julius believer fan. I'm a big Julius Randle believer. I'm a big Julius Randle believer, man. Ever since he's been on the Lakers, I've just been supporting him. But I never thought he would be this good. I always thought he would just be a scorer. But man, he's getting to the point where he is becoming a great decision maker. He's learning how to draw doubles, hit, and be able to find his teammates, make the right decision, and just be able to give it up, man. I gotta give it up to my boy Julius Randle. Extremely proud of him, dog. And I just think that he's gonna come out this year and take another huge leap. But before we get to the Celtics, do you want to talk a little bit about the Knicks and how you felt about the Knicks perspective?
Yeah, I think in terms of the Knicks, like you said, Julius Randle, he looks like he's motivated because last year in the playoffs he didn't play so well, and that was kind of well known. So I think he's kind of out for redemption again, which is crazy because 2 seasons ago, Knicks fans hated him. Then he came out the next year, put up an MVP caliber season, and then the playoffs wasn't so good. Now he's trying to do it again. So that's kind of crazy. Like you said, Kemba Walker's a great addition. Evan Fournier was crazy the other night.
Crazy.
Yeah, he was unreal. I think the other thing is I was leading NBA Twitter in the charge to get Derrick Rose back in the game at the end of the game because they were up 11, and then he comes out. Celtics go on an 8-0 run. They force overtime. It was just, I'm like, come on, you got to have him in. And then sure enough, he hits the shot that seals it. And I'm like, what did I say? But, I mean, I could just, I guess, touch on some of these other things before you give your take again on the Celtics. My Chicago Bulls, didn't play good at all. Somehow we squeaked out a win because it was against Detroit. But it was a good teaching lesson, I think, for us. Jaylen Brown, in terms of the Celtics, I mean, you're probably going to get to that, but he had the best debut so far, of anyone. And I think, I'm interested to see what you're going to say, but I think Jason Tatum is going to have to be more observant of that. Because sometimes when Jaylen Brown has his shot going, he's got to defer to him. Because Jaylen Brown's good enough where he could have a lot of nights in the season where he's the number one, and then Tatum's got to take the backseat. John Morant, De'Aaron Fox, these guys are looking to make their first All-Star game this year. Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, making a big statement in the first game, trying to be in the MVP talks once again. And in terms of the favorite game, I mean, the Knicks-Celtics one was so good, but I'll go with the Pacers-Hornets because, Charlotte made a crazy comeback. I thought the Pacers were going to run away with it, but LaMelo Ball was crazy. Gordon Hayward is probably one of the most slept-on players in the NBA right now because he was going to be an all-star, I think, last year until he got hurt. But, yeah, if he's healthy, they're going to be a really good team. Malcolm Brogdon, again, showing why he's one of the most underrated players in the league. Sabonis was unreal. And then look out for rookie Chris Duarte this year because that guy, jeez. Also, I will give a shout-out to Tyrese Maxey because he played well. But, yeah, I mean, that's, I guess, a little roundup of everything that I saw. But got anything else to add?
Yeah, so I mean, let's keep talking. Let's talk about that Celtics because what you brought up, my brother, you brought up a great point, and that's in Jason Tatum needing to learn how to defer and give it up to Jaylen Brown. And I think that for the past couple of years, the narrative has been, it's just Jason Tatum as a real star over there, And Jaylen Brown started to emerge. Last year took that huge leap. And it looks like this year he's going to take an even bigger leap into just real superstardom. And as I'm watching the game, man, I mean, Gary, you saw how bad of a game Jason Tatum had. But the biggest problem that I have with him, and it's not that he's missing. We all go miss, and all you can do is shoot it, and hope it goes in. But my problem with Jason Tatum is that he kept shooting. He tried to shoot himself out of the slump, and in my opinion, he shot them out the game, man. He shot them out the game. But I mean, let's look at it. He had 20 points. He went 7 from 30 from the field for an abysmal 23% from the field. He went 2 of 15 from 3 for 13%, man. And my thing is, when you're 2 for 7, when you're 1 for 7, you got to realize that. You got to realize, man, it's not going, it's not hitting. And you got to look to players that are hitting like Jaylen Brown and just give it up, man. Because too many times I saw Jason Tatum try to force it, man. Like at the end of the first overtime, Jason Tatum tried to go to that little that little over the right shoulder fadeaway air ball. In my opinion, Jaylen Brown has the hot hand. He needs the ball in that last second. While I agree, Jason Tatum is the best scorer on that team. If they're both having good games, I'm giving it to Jason Tatum. But Jason Tatum needs to realize, man, Jaylen Brown's got it, and I need to defer, and I need to give it to him, man. So that's one thing that I wanted to talk about as far as like that whole Tatum and Brown situation. But I also want to talk about my boy Marcus Smart, man. My boy Marcus Smart. I was saying this over the summer. My boy needs to start over Dennis Schroeder. He needs to start over Dennis Schroeder. And I can't. People call me crazy. They call me crazy. And now I hope they see the truth, man. Because Marcus Smart is the point guard that the Celtics need. Dennis Schroeder is the exact same player that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is. It's give me the ball, pound, bucket.
Yeah.
They don't need three of the same type players in the starting lineup, man. Put him off the bench. Let him lead that second unit, and let Marcus Smart be a real facilitator and facilitate that first unit, man. So I'm definitely happy that my boy Marcus Smart was out there balling, man. But I do also want to touch a little bit. You know, you talk about that Hornets and Pacers game, man. LaMelo. Before we even get to the game, let's talk about his fit. Let's talk about his fit. He came out there in that green trench coat.
He looked like a villain.
That was weird. I see your story. You're like, yeah, the Hornets are.
I said after that, I'm like, yeah, they're not making the playoffs. Someone commented under that post. I don't know who posted it, but someone commented under that. They're like, "Dude looks like he's ready to fight Batman," or something like.
I love that, man.
It was ridiculous.
But you know what? He was fighting Batmans out there, dog, because he was going crazy. He had a 31, 9, and 7, and we're not talking about a solidified star. No, we're talking about a second-year player. We're talking about a young buck. I don't even know if LaMelo's 21 yet. I don't want to get misquoted, but we're talking about a young buck. First game of the season, almost putting up a triple-double. Man, oh man, while I agree with you, Garrett, I think the fit was crazy, the fit was unnecessary. But boy, the boy can ball, and it's looking real up for the Hornets family over there, man. But that's the games that I want to talk about for Wednesday.
Yeah, and to add to the Tatum thing, another guy that didn't play that well in the debut and surprised me, Damian Lillard. It was not very good for him. But I'm not worried about him going forward. I'm really not worried about Tatum either. I am worried about Damian Lillard's team, though. Losing to the Sacramento Kings, not a great start, I must say.
You want to talk about that? My brother? You want to talk about whether you think he'll be there after the All-Star break?
I mean, I don't know. It's just a hard situation because, he's so loyal to them, and I feel like they don't want to lose him. So I feel like they're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. If you want, we can move on to the NBA 75th anniversary team, and we can discuss snubs, if you have those listed, people that maybe you thought made it and didn't deserve it, if you have any of those, and then also if you were surprised by anybody but you don't mind. But what do you think?
Let's do it. So I got a couple people here I want to talk about. And first thing I want to talk about was actually something I seen on Twitter. Andre Iguodala tweeted. So you're telling me Kyrie Irving isn't top 75? You say you're right. He's top 20. I think Andre Iguodala needs to get drug tested. If he thinks Kyrie Irving is a top 20 point guard of all time, there is a problem here. There is a huge problem here because not only is his attitude not there, but he hasn't proved it enough to put him in the top 20 player of all time. So I just wanted to throw that out. Andre Iguodala is absolutely on drugs, but that's a different discussion for us to get into. But a couple of snubs that I have here, Garrett. My first one is my boy. Is my boy? No. I feel that a Hall of Famer, an 8-time All-Star, a 3-time all NBA first team selection and tied for the most defensive players of the year, that should definitely land you a spot in the top 70 and the top 75, especially when you think about how important defense is, man. Defense is such an important aspect to the game. So, man, when I didn't see Mutombo on the list, I definitely felt that was a snub. And another big snub for me, and I don't know if you're necessarily going to agree with me on this one, because honestly, I went back and forth over and over and over, and I ultimately decided he did get snubbed, and that's Tony Parker, man. Tony Parker, we're talking about a 4-time champ, a 1-time NBA MVP, a 6-time All-Star, and most of all, the leader of that Spurs dynasty. I mean, let's be real. I mean, our whole life, we grew up seeing the Spurs be dominant. And who was the guard? Who was the pit bull running the team, running the organization on court and off the court? People often say that point guards are an extension of the coaches. That's exactly what Tony Parker was doing all his time throughout the Spurs, man, and led them to such a successful dynasty. And this might be a hot take, Garrett. This might be a hot take for you. So clip this if you want, my dog.
All right.
But if Chris Paul makes it, Tony Parker should make it.
Ooh. See, I don't know if I agree with that. But I will say, though, I do agree that I think Tony Parker was one of the bigger snubs. I have him on here. I also think his partner in crime, Manu Ginobili, was snubbed. Because this is a guy that was part of the dynasty as well. Yeah, he doesn't have maybe quite the accolades, but he's a multiple-time All-Star, All-NBA player, 6th Man of the Year. I think he was robbed, honestly, of the 2005 Finals MVP. So putting all that into, one, I don't know how he doesn't make it. Or at least, get an honorable mention. But speaking of honorable mention, when I dropped my top 50 videos a few weeks ago, everyone on my top 50 made it, but the honorable mention did not, and that's Alex English. That shocked me. And also Adrian Dantley, who was very close to being an honorable mention. I was surprised he didn't make it either, because, these guys were pure scorers. Alex English is the leading scorer for the whole 1980s decade. And then Adrian Dantley, I think he averaged 30 points per game for 4 different seasons, leading the league and scoring multiple times. This guy is great. I think also one year he was very close to being Finals MVP if the outcome changed. So there's that. Guys as well, I think Alonzo Mourning probably deserves a little bit more credit. And I know people are going to probably hate on this, but I'm going to give credit to Derrick Rose. Because, yes, he's a league MVP, and you might say, he only made 3 All-Star teams, only 1 All-NBA. But you also got to factor in how impactful is Derrick Rose. People will say that he's the worst MVP of all time. And if you believe that, that's fine, I guess. But you can't sit here and tell me he's not more impactful to the league's history than Wes Unseld or Bob McAdoo. Or, there's some forgotten MVPs in NBA history. And Derrick Rose has always been one of the most clutch players in the league. He's one of the most iconic players in the league. And he's still doing it at a high level. So I don't know. He's at least top 100. I'm not going to argue people saying against that. But he's probably at least a snub for the top 75. T-Mac and Yao as well. But that's kind of the same thing. They had some injuries. Yao Ming, he's one of my favorite players ever. And then I also put Grant Hill on here. But a lot of those last few, injuries were the thing. But I'm tired of D Rose disrespect. I had to get that out of there. But what were you gonna say?
I was gonna jump right on board with you, man, because I'm tired of the D Rose disrespect too. It is hard to put him in that top 75, not because of skill, not because of what he did. 100% because of injury, 100% because of how his injuries derailed him, and he didn't just really have the time to do what he could. But let's look at it, man. He's the young, not just an MVP, the youngest MVP of all time, and he was, like how you said, Garrett, extremely influential. I'm over here looking on the NBA website, and the NBA website mentions that one of the criteria as to how they pick these is not only skill, but it's also influence in the game and how they change the game. And just like how you said, Garrett, you got to be crazy to think that Wes Unseld had more of an influence and impact on the game than Derrick Rose, a point guard that our generation grew up watching, man. I mean, and let's also look at like what he's fought through, man. Just injury after injury after injury after teams doing him wrong and after just not getting the rightful opportunity. But yet still in the league, still contributing. Like how we just watched the Knicks play yesterday and beat the Celtics. Still a major contributor, man. So while I agree that it's hard, you got to make a real good argument to put him in that 75. But the 100, man, he needs to be in there.
Yeah, and I mean, he's doing it like in year 14. How many players are doing this in year 14 or later? You know, I could go back and check, like, guys I praise all the time on this channel, like Oscar Robertson. In year 14, compare him to Derrick Rose right now. He doesn't compare. Like, I don't know. He just deserves more credit. But another thing I want to say about the top 75 list is I don't quite agree with how they put everyone in the 50th anniversary team on the 75th anniversary team. Because there's some players, I mean, all the guys we just listed, some of those guys are probably better, I think, than like Bill Sharman or Hal Greer or Dave Cowens. I really think Dave Cowens is an MVP as well, but I think he's also one of the more overrated players in NBA history. And then another one I put on here, you might not agree with this because he has some influence on the game, but it's Bob Cousy. I just don't know, like, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's hard to not put Bob Cousy in there because of his influence on the game. I'm not even talking real numbers because I'm one of those guys that's like that Jerry West is like, hey, like, thank you for being a pioneer of the game. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing that. But let's watch the tape. The man was dribbling like head down. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't real talent now. You know what I'm saying?
I will say though, like, I just want to say, like, I'll give credit to the guys in the past. Like, I give credit all the time to Oscar Robertson, Jerry West. More recently, I've been giving a lot of credit to Willis Reed as well. Like, those guys, you know, they deserve the credit, but some of these guys I feel like get overblown in NBA history. And I just think he's one of them. But yeah, I don't know. Were you going to say something about that?
No, I was just going to mention that I agree. Like, oftentimes with these older players, the NBA could just, you know, be pushing their name so much and pushing the narrative that the casuals, the people who aren't watching, the people who don't go back and check the tape, they just think like, oh yeah, this is really one of the greatest players. It's really one of the greatest players. So I agree with the Bob Cousy one. I still would put him on there just because of the major influence and how that is a factor onto this list. But Garrett, I got a player I want to ask you, and I really want to put him on the list, but I just feel like it's too early. It's just way too early. But
if you're gonna say Luka Doncic, I'm gonna cancel it right now. I'm canceling it right now. Luka Doncic. I told someone, I said, if Luka Doncic is on the 75th anniversary team, someone is getting fired. Well, and that's no disrespect to Luka at all, because if you went by like skill, like, yeah, you could easily argue he's one of the top 75 most skilled NBA players we've ever seen, even right now, and he's probably going to get better. But with what he's accomplished so far, you just can't put him there. I just don't see it.
Man, yeah, oh man, I went back and forth so much about this, like, because I hear you, and your point is extremely valid, right? Like, you have to prove it. All 75 of those players, 76, whatever NBA comes out with, all of those players proved it, man. They did it, and Luka had, like, he's done it, right? He's done it in the game, but you know he's not a multi-time All-Star, multi-time champion. He doesn't have those accolades yet. So I hear your point is so valid, but I mean, I guess maybe if we're just talking about skill, if we're talking about just like potential, because you ask me if I had to pick a baby goat, it's gotta be him.
I'm gonna say one thing about that is when they came out with the 50th anniversary team in 1996, They put one really young player on that team. Do you know who that was? Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal. But what he accomplished, first of all, he had played 4 years as opposed to Luka playing 3. Shaq was a beast from day one, and I'm not saying Luka wasn't, but Shaq was an all-star from the very beginning. He led his team to the NBA Finals and beat Michael Jordan in the playoffs. So, like, what has Luka done in the playoffs so far? I mean, he's had great, insane performances, I will say, but he hasn't gone anywhere past the first round. And I think that has a big influence on it, especially factoring in that now we're factoring in more players than we were 25 years ago. Because back then it's like you weren't talking about LeBron, you weren't talking about Kobe, because they hadn't like shown their career yet. So I think that plays a part in it as well. There's just way more people to look at, and then also Luka compared to that, and Shaq. Like they made a lot of criticism toward putting Shaq on that list back then, and now in 2021 with social media where it is, if Luka was on that list, the whole world would turn upside down. Twitter would have to be like suspended for like a whole week or something like that.
All right. Well, then let me ask you about somebody who you might or might not have on your list. I don't think he should have been on here, and that is because he has. You could say he's changed the game, but I think he's poisoned the game, and that's James Harden. I don't think James Harden deserves to be here on this
On the
list.
top
Now, yes,
75 though.
my guy, I just feel like he polluted the game. He literally added traveling to the game. He literally added a little armbar into the game. Like I'm having a hard time. Like I understand all he's doing is playing with the rules. He's bending the rules. I get it, but to me that's killing the game. I like to see the game for its purest forms. He's going to the free throw line like man, like 9 times a game, 11 times a game, and all shit that's not even a foul, man. So I had a real problem with him being up this high with in what has James Harden really done, right? What has he really done in the playoffs, right? A proven winner.
Well, I mean, that's a fair point with the playoffs. And I will say, to an extent, maybe people go too high on James Harden. I'm not one to put him like top 20 or something like that, like or top 25. I'm not gonna go crazy and say like he's better than D Wade or something like that. But what I will say is that Harden in the regular season has probably one of the best like peaks ever. And the other thing you were saying with how you know the things that he does is polluting the game. But if it's polluting the game, and you said also like how he's using it to his advantage, trying to bend the rules. But if that's the case, then why isn't everyone doing it?
Because that would kill the game. Like that's not what the game of basketball is.
But
You're not supposed to.
it's worked for him so far better than most of these
Zero
great
rings.
NBA players. Yeah, he has 0 rings, but look at you're comparing him to guys that he's played in the playoffs like Steph Curry. He's not on Steph Curry's level. Or if he played LeBron James in the playoffs, he's not on LeBron James' level. But if he got a playoff run against a bunch of non-top 10 players in the league right now, because almost everyone that's a top 10 player in the league right now will probably end up in the top 75 all time. I mean, would you say that's a fair statement? And he and
Yeah,
he's
I think that.
and he's probably one of the top 10 players in the league. So if he went through like a playoff run of a bunch of teams led by those guys that weren't on his level or better, then yeah. But I just think that he's kind of got a raw deal. He's had to play the Warriors for so many years. I know he did choke the one year, especially against San Antonio, and that was bad. He's had his playoff chokes, but I think the regular season, it does definitely matter. I think that though the playoffs is probably scaled higher. So yeah, like if you think like maybe he's higher or lower than like what I think, that's sure. But I don't know about not top 75. But I don't know, man. I just don't. I
But
don't
but
agree.
But Gary, let me ask you as an overall player though, not just as a okay, as a scorer, he might be top top 15 scorer of all time. But as an overall player, I'm talking about as a leader, as a teammate, as a defensive player, as getting on the glass, not just a scorer, not just a facilitator. Like, and I mean, I don't know what the NBA, everything the NBA took into account, but that the way he left Houston, prima donna. I could never respect him.
That's true. I mean, there are people that have gone through that before in the past, but I mean, yeah, in terms of leadership and being a teammate, he's definitely not the best teammate in the world. He's been in altercations with plenty of guys like Dwight Howard and Chris Paul in the past. But in terms of being an elite scorer, I mean, scoring over 35 points per game for several seasons at one of the most efficient clips as well. I mean, he's statistically one of the most efficient players of all time in the regular season. So you got to take that into account as well. I think his defense, yeah, in 2016 he was like horrible. He was lazy. I think it's definitely gotten better over time, and I think actually now, I don't know if I wouldn't say he's a good defender, but he's at least like a serviceable defender. Like, he's not someone that's ritually gonna get like exploited possession after possession. So I don't know. And I think also in terms of his handles, there's not a lot of players that have handles as good as him. I would probably say at the very minimum he's probably top 15 all time in terms of ball handling. So I mean, these are all pretty solid aspects of the game too. So I'm definitely putting him in that top 75. I mean, that's just my point.
Okay, I got you. I just to me, it's just not yet. I haven't seen enough of a proven winner. In my opinion, it's just polluted the game too much, man. And to me, I need more than a serviceable defensive player, man. I need someone that's going to bring me intensity on both. Because we talking top 75 of all time. It's a lot of people, man. It's a lot of people.
That's true.
Right.
But if you want, we could talk about this Ben Simmons thing going on, getting pretty toxic. Just give me your quick thoughts on what do you think about Ben right now?
You ready to talk about, man? Look, this is what I think. Ben Simmons is just another prima donna that's pissing me off. Because check this out, Garrett. What did the 76ers do that's so messed up to Ben Simmons besides expect him to shoot? Right? He's scared to shoot. He's scared to do what he needs to do. What are the 76ers fans asking Ben Simmons to do? Shoot a basketball. It's part of your damn job. It's part of what you do for a living. It's part of what you get paid millions of dollars to do. And okay, that's fine. He can't shoot. You don't need to. Not everybody needs to be Stephen Curry, but you at least need to keep the defense guessing. You at least need to be able to at least throw it up there. And for the fact that he won't even try to shoot. That was my first red flag. That was back before his coach told him, I want you to shoot at least 1 3 a game, and he wasn't shooting it. That was when I drew the first red flag, and I was like, uh-oh, what is this? And then as time goes on, right, he has this absolute embarrassment in the playoffs, this absolute shutdown, and then 76ers fans get on him. We understand Philadelphia. Philadelphia fans are hard, man. Whether you are their number one lover or you're the number one hater, man, they're going to get on you if you're not doing what you are expected to do, right? And all they did is get on him, and he could not mentally take it. Now, I understand Doc Rivers did not take the best approach. You know, as a coach, you always want to side your player. You always want to be there with him. You always want to, show that you believe in him. So Doc Rivers saying that in front of the media, saying, I don't know if Ben Simmons can be a championship point guard, is very detrimental. I absolutely understand. But the problem with Ben Simmons is the fact that his teammates offered to go get on a private jet, go be with him, let's figure this out. He said, no, stay over there. So he burnt the bridges with them. He burnt the bridges with all his coaches. He burnt the bridges with the upstairs management on the 76ers, because he just keeps getting fined, because they keep having to fine him. And then he burnt bridges with all other organizations, because, Garrett, tell me this. If you're an NBA GM, what is going to make you think that Ben Simmons is going to come to your team and it's going to be sunshines and rainbows? The man is still not going to be able to shoot. He's still not going to be able to play in the playoffs, right? So it's still going to be a problem. So here is, I'm sorry this is long-winded, Garrett.
No, you're good. I'm just checking my thing.
I got a lot to say. So Ben Simmons, he does all this shit, and then he goes back to practice and looks so like unengaged that he has to get kicked out of practice. Like Garrett, we're not talking about high school practice. We're not talking about a freaking middle school practice. We're talking about NBA players who do this for a living, and he's being unengaged at work with his phone in his pocket. Man, Garrett, that was my last straw with Ben Simmons. I am done with him. I never want to see him in a Philadelphia 76ers uniform ever again. I apologize that was extremely long-winded, but I am done with Ben Simmons, Garrett.
Can I one up that for you? With Ben Simmons, I never want to see him in the NBA again. Because this guy, see, there's too many players in the NBA that want to just get away with not doing their job. You just brought up like James Harden and how it was toxic the way he left Houston. And I don't respect the way that players go about like, oh, I'm just going to like sit out or I'm just going to like mope or whine or like force to get my way. And first of all, Ben Simmons, to a player like James Harden or other players in the past like Jimmy Butler did it in Minnesota, like he's not on their level. So he doesn't really have that leverage. The other thing is this guy, he's just not, they said he's very immature. He's not really much of a teammate. So, I mean, who would really want that on their team? I think that the NBA should ban him, and I think that they should void his contract. And, I mean, if you're not playing, like, and you're not going to be, like, there, you're not accountable at your own job, then why are you getting paid and why are you here? Most people, when that happens, what happens? They get fired. So, I don't know. I think that that's got to happen. Something's got to change there. And then I'll leave it to one thing, and that's what Danny Green said when he said that it doesn't even matter if he can't shoot, just come back, and that's fine, and be a part of this team. Because Danny Green, I'm sure you even know, he's seen a lot of this himself, the negative energy from the media piling on him. He saw it in LA, he saw it in San Antonio, saw it in Toronto. So, yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I don't even know how it's going to end, this Ben Simmons thing. So now we got a nice little NBA trivia game. So how it's going to work is I have 5 possible hints here that you could have. You could potentially guess after each hint, but you only get 3 guesses. And then if you don't get it, then you'll get 0 points. But if you guess the player correctly or the thing, because it could also be a team, it could be a coach, it could be anything. But if you guess it right after 1 hint, you'll get 5 points. If you guess it right after 2 hints, you'll get 4 points. 3 hints, 3 points. I mean, you kind of get it after that. So you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we got 5 questions, and then at the end, it's just 1 question. There's only 1 thing. It's impossible level. It's something about me with the NBA. So we'll see if you can get that. But here's the first thing. The first question, first hint. This guy won championships with the 3 biggest markets for NBA teams. Now remember, you get 3 total guesses in the whole thing. If you want to use one right now, or you could also wait, but then you won't be able to get 5 total points.
Russell.
Bill Russell?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it is not Bill Russell.
Hey.
So that's your first guess gone. Now we'll move on to the next hint. So the second hint is he was both a player in the NBA and a coach, which I don't know how much that helps you because Bill Russell was both too.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Any idea? Or you could also pass and save another one of your guesses, but you won't get 4 points on this one.
I get 3 hints per question, right?
You get 5 total hints, but you can only guess after 3 of them. And if you miss all your guesses, then you get 0 points on the thing.
Man, all right. Because I gotta get that. Let me get one more hint.
Okay. The third hint is he has more total rings than Bill Russell. Now, listen, he has more total rings than Bill Russell. You could take the next hint, but then you might as well just guess after that point, for each one.
I'll just take the next hint and I'll just guess.
The fourth hint is he coached greats such as Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Jackson. Oh my God,
Yep,
dog.
it
Right?
was Phil
Oh
Jackson.
my
I mean,
God.
at least he didn't get it just 1 point because the last one it was he is known for the triangle. That would have been pretty obvious. But you still got 2 points. I mean, that's not bad. But let's move on to the second one. This player, the first hint, this NBA player went to the same college as Bob Pettit and Pistol Pete Maravich.
It would help if I knew where they went to college.
I feel like if I told you, you'd be able to guess it though. So it's kind of this is why it's the harder hint. This is the hardest one of the five.
let me get a next hint because I don't even know what college they went to. Let me get a next hint.
Okay. The second hint is this NBA player played for 6 NBA teams.
Some did that. I need another hint.
All right. He has 4 titles, 3 where he was the Finals MVP. You might as well guess after this one because you used your 2 skips.
Hell, that was such a bad guess. That
Wait,
was
wait,
a terrible guess.
wait. What'd you say? It didn't come through.
It's honestly embarrassing. I said Larry Bird, but that was a terrible guess.
It is not Larry Bird. I'm sorry, but
Oh man.
let's move on to the fourth hint. He is widely regarded as one of the most dominant big men in NBA history. It kind of cut out. I think you said. Did you say Shaq?
Shaq.
I was pretty certain. I mean, that would have gave you the answer anyways. But I was certain you said it. So that's 4 points that you got going so far. It's not bad. Now these next questions get a little bit harder though. Which, if those,
I was having a hard time with the first one, man.
I don't go easy. We don't go easy here. All right. So the third
Let's do
question.
it.
Third question. First hint. This team drafted both Adrian Dantley and Spencer Haywood.
I really, really want to say, is it the Knicks?
I'm sorry, it is not the Knicks. Um, but you can still get 4 points if you get it here. So the second hint is this team has the most ever winners of the Six Man of the Year award.
Six Man of the Year winners. I immediately think to the Wizards.
It is not the Wizards. I'm sorry, and that now you only get one more guess. You got to be careful because if you get it wrong, you're gonna get 0 on this one.
All right.
The third hint is this team has the third highest win percentage in the NBA over the past decade. You want to risk it, or you want to go for the next hint?
Nah. I'm. Oh man. Just give me the next hint. Whatever.
Okay. The fourth hint is this team has never made it to the NBA Finals.
I'm not gonna get this one, dog. Damn.
No. I guarantee you'll get it after the last one for sure.
Never been to the. Man, so many. No. The Kings.
I'm sorry, it is not the Kings.
Oh my God.
And that's your third guess. So unfortunately, you get 0 on this one. But I'll see if you can get it here. The fifth hint was they are currently one of 2 teams in their city.
Yeah, I'm froze. I'm froze, Garrett.
Think about your team. You're close to your team.
The Lakers and Clippers.
It might be one of them.
Oh my God, dog! Garrett, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing.
It was.
This is embarrassing.
It was the Clippers.
Oh,
So I guess that doesn't make you like a bandwagon or anything like that. You don't have to worry about any of those things happening. But you got 4. You should try to get at least 10 before it's over. These ones though are getting tough. So
all right, here we go.
You got to step A game right now. All right. So the fourth question. This one's going to be crazy. The first hint is this player is named, and this is going to test your history, like actual history, not NBA history. So this might be hard. This player is named after a Confederate general in the Civil War.
Wow. All right. After the Civil War. Ooh. I need another hint. I'm gonna need another hint.
All right. he is the only player in NBA history to make an All-NBA team every season of his career.
David Robertson.
Unfortunately, it is not. And I will say, though, I did mention this in one of my videos recently, that hint there, where he's one of the only players, he is the only player to make an All-NBA team every year of their career. So I will say that. The next hint, the third hint, is he has been named to every anniversary team in NBA history. So he made the 25th anniversary team, the 35th anniversary team, the 50th, and the 75th. So the hint there is that he's old.
He's an old guy. All right.
He's an old guy.
Ah, man. All right. Let me see here. Let me think. Let's go with this. This is a shot in the dark. Is it Bob Pettit?
It is Bob Pettit. That's crazy. You got it. That was insane. The other two hints were he defeated Bill Russell in the NBA Finals, and then the last hint was he's the reason the Hawks have a championship. So
yeah, that last one would have gave it to you.
You would have got it eventually, but like that's pretty good, a 3-pointer. All right, so you got what, 7 points now? If you get 3 here, you end up with 10, and this is hard trivia too, so that's pretty good. But let's start off with this one. It's a player. The first hint is this NBA player has played with great players such as Tim Duncan, Chris Webber, Chris Paul, Steve Nash, and Dwight Howard. So as you can tell, he kind of, gets around.
Okay, he a journeyman.
A little bit, yeah.
Give me another hint.
All right. Second hint is he was once awarded as the most improved player of the league. And you got to think, all the guys I named, like that's about 10, 20 years ago. So somewhere in that range.
Yeah. Okay.
You could try and guess. I mean, I think your goal right here is to get a 3-pointer at least, so you can get 10 at the end.
I need a 3. I need to go from deep.
So you could take a guess here and then take a guess on the next one. If you want.
Are you allowed to tell me the players again that he played with?
Oh yeah, Tim Duncan, Chris Webber, Chris Paul, Steve Nash, and Dwight Howard.
Oof. Man, oh my God.
You could lob a guess here because you still will have another on the 3-pointer, and then if you don't get it there, you might as well just hold it for until you're comfortable.
Let me lob to Vujicic.
You said Vujicic?
The shooter that used to be on the Lakers and the Kings, Sasha Vujicic.
That's a close-ish guess, I will say, but that's not right, unfortunately. But we'll move on, though, to the third hint. And this one is going to be a little tough still, but this is for the 10-pointer now at the end. He has 2 silver medals for his country of Turkey to his name.
I'm guessing Enes Kanter.
Unfortunately, it is not Enes Kanter.
Damn it. Okay.
Now
can I have another hint?
Yeah, now you can play safe though if you want, just to try and get it. The fourth one is he was widely seen as the closer for a team that made the NBA Finals. You could hold it and try and guarantee a point, or you could be a little risky and try and get a 2-pointer here. Any thoughts coming in?
I have a guess, but I really okay. Is it Turkoglu?
It is Hedo Turkoglu.
Yes, Hedo Turkoglu, because I was thinking from the Magic, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good. You got 4 of the questions right. I mean, the only one that was what was it? The Clippers one or something was the only one that was. And I mean, you kind of just ran out of guesses, so you probably would have got it anyways. The last hint, though, for the Turkoglu one, I mean, you probably would have guessed it here anyways, was this player blocked Kobe Bryant at the end of regulation to force overtime, in a game of the
Yeah.
NBA Finals. So you would have probably got it there anyways, for sure. Now, you do have 9 points, but this question about me is a 5 pointer. It's only one question. It's going to be impossible level because it's just one question. But if you throw out a name, if you get the luckiest answer ever, then you could be sitting at 14 points, which is pretty good. But here's the question: what NBA player, it could be past or present, um, looked me in the eyes and walked right past me with a sour look on his face after I asked him for a picture together? This this
Wow.
this one's a little personal. I asked this guy for a picture. He looked me right in the eyes, gave me a sour look, and walked right past me. And then he actually took pictures with someone else. But who do you think it is?
Hey, do I get hints on this one or no?
There's no hints. This is impossible level.
Okay. I have a hunch on who it is.
Who do you think?
Mm, J.R. Smith.
Unfortunately, it is not J.R. Smith. That's a pretty good guess though. I feel like that's something he might do. Um, the
Me
player
too.
the player it actually was Glenn Big Baby Davis. And it happened at the Big Three as well. It was just, and then he goes and takes pictures with other people. He looked me straight in the eyes. I was like, dude. And then I took it to Twitter that day to rant about Glenn Davis. Since then, my Twitter's been
That
suspended. I had to make a new account, but yeah, I was heated. It was mad. I was mad.
Yeah, I would be too. Big baby Davis need to take a picture of me. Need to say what's up.
It was crazy. But, 9 points, that's pretty good. I will say, I don't know how other people are going to fare in this. I feel like I made them really hard. I'm going to try and make them hard as I continue to do these. So don't think I'm only going hard on you. I'm going to try and be equally as disrespectful to every other guest. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's going to basically conclude the show today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Any final thoughts from you?
Man, honestly, just thank you very much for having me on here. I was very excited to come on here talk some hoop with you. And honestly, man, thank the Lord Jesus Christ because NBA basketball is back and NBA season is here, and we got games to watch every day. And I'm already excited for that Warriors Clippers game tonight.
That's facts. And again, like I said at the beginning, feel free to check the description below. I'm gonna have his link down there, and go drop a subscribe on him and watch all his videos because why not? And by the time that this drops, I think we're all gonna be listening to Kawhi's new album. So there's that. That should be interesting. I'm really excited to see that.
And Mr. Fun Guy.
A fun guy for sure. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and we're out. Peace.